Hey, this is Justin. This is a walk and talk brainstorm on December 6th, 2020. Sharing ideas that are rattling around inside the head, outside the head. I am bundled up. I've got 2 pairs of gloves on, walking around with my neck desk and a stylus just to get some of these ideas rattling around inside the head, outside the head. This will turn into a podcast eventually, and then this will also get transcribed, and hopefully to kick off some workflow around some of the different ideas. I went live this morning on the computer, and so I start everything on the computer and then move it to the mobile phone. And on the computer, just pulled up a bunch of images on Dropbox of things that we're working on, things that were interesting to be able to care. So I'm not just sort of randomly going in the wild, sharing some of the different ideas. That's available inside of this type of recording, but I'm not doing that right now. I'm just going completely top of mind. What is the stuff that is top of mind? And right now it's logistics. The first few times we start operating under new systems, we have these meta conversations about logistics, about how to operate, how to make things go, how to make things work, what's working and what's not working. That will change soon. That'll change very soon, actually. But for now, it's just how everything is starting to work. I am excited for what I can actually produce. What can get produced every single day. When we do go live, that people can actually join the conversation and be part of the conversation live as it is happening. That's inspiring, that's exciting, that's fun, that's invigorating. One of the things that's not working right now is podcast isn't hooked up to Apple Podcasts from Spreaker. It's just it's going from it's just hooked up in a different place. We probably got to change what the RSS feed is that is feeding the individual podcasts, and we'll have to make that change to make it work, which isn't a problem at all. But we'll have to hopefully that gets picked up in the next couple of days, so we get these get the podcast. Because what a podcast does, especially when it makes it to Apple Podcasts, then it becomes available inside of Air, and you can re-listen to it that way and start pulling out the individual clips. So the whole idea is we want to go directly from the stream of consciousness, right? Like develop a great relationship with our subconscious, speak stream of consciousness, top of mind with what's happening, get that captured out there, and then break it down into individual components. So it's a nice dance between making things flat and not flat, flat, not flat, flat, not flat. It's a nice dance between the two of pulling things apart, putting them back together, reframing them and putting them in the right place. So and the whole idea is, what is the most effortless way to be able to create and to build? It's definitely audio. Audio is definitely the best place to be able to play and to be able to build. Oh, I do see something now with Speak AI. If we got these screenshots of the tools that we're actually talking about, when we actually talk about something, it shows up as a screenshot live and out there in the world. That's fun. That's exciting. That's invigorating. That's inspiring. What else I want to share? Do have the whole name of the game is to be able to collapse the time frame between coming up with an idea and having that idea hit their failure point. And we want to push ideas to their failure point most of the time. Now, what's going to happen if we push a large volume of ideas through to failure point, eventually what's going to happen is one of them is going to actually get through in a successful way. And that's the game. That's the name of the game. That's how we play this. I might just thinking about just having walk and talk brainstorms as just having walk and talk brainstorms potentially as the ones that we launch. We'll work around with this for a couple of different ways, and having each of these as sort of different remote types of podcasts. But the whole idea is to go, how do we go from mind to reality very quickly and bypass a lot of the processes that are taking up a lot of energy and a lot of time. I learned from the Yak team Yak, yelling across computers, YAC. The Yak team, they the way that they make changes is the tickets are originally ordered, or the change is ordered via an audio message. So it's described via an audio message, and the person who's executing on the ticket writes up the ticket, or asks some clarifying questions. I'm just looking here. Yep. Hello. I think it's a bird. All right. I think people can hear me talking here. It is. We are in hunting season. I'm wearing a large orange hat right now, so I don't get hunted. But just heard some noise in the background that had me want to pause for a second and think about it. So, yep, the person writes up the ticket, sends it over, and then the person who created originally gives it a yay or a nay. But the feedback loop is happening over audio, and I think that's important. Audio that's actually getting transcribed. I think that's very important. I read a tweet. I can't remember whose name, who the person was who actually created the tweet, but read a tweet earlier this week about, the real keys are going to be the people that communicate effectively via writing. Now, the real name of the game is being able to communicate your audios well enough so that they occur in the world as a written form. That's the real name of the game. Being able to communicate your audios so when they do get transcribed out to the world, they get communicated in a way that actually hits. Because language, the first way that we learned to communicate was by speaking, and language is the easiest way spoken language is the easiest way to be able to communicate. The challenge with spoken stuff up until this point in time is it's too hard to consume, or has been too hard to consume asynchronously. So the real value is being able to capture some of the ideas through transcription and through other mechanisms of being able to work. So that's fun. I have been trying out the MMHMM app on the Mac. I will tell you, it's a desktop app right now. When the recording actually did show up, it didn't work very well. I think if something is not browser-based or app-based at this point in time, like mobile-based, it's going to be a challenge to use. I love the whole concept of it. I love the idea of being able to pull an image into a deck or a conversation very rapidly, but I'll probably just have to get very good at doing that inside of PowerPoint, being able to edit decks inside of PowerPoint rapidly. I know that with like Prezi, you are able to edit decks real time, but for the time being, we'll probably just have to do that instead of PowerPoint. The beautiful thing about PowerPoint is the editing can be done over mobile phones, so I can actually start building out the deck for the day earlier in the day, right? So I think take the artifacts that are going to create the deck that we're going to use for our presentation every single day, take those artifacts, drop those into Dropbox, and take those and drop them into Dropbox, and then from there can start to put together a deck based on those artifacts. And so I think that is a fun way to be able to you're creating like a backlog of things that you actually want to talk about, and then a frequency under which you actually want to talk about those things and work through them. That's and you'll probably, now I've got to start talking about some equipment upgrades. Definitely have to upgrade our internet. So hopefully I listen to this on the background. That is a to-do item. To-do item is to upgrade our internet. Probably do that today so that when we do go live in the future, that it's easier to be able to get a good signal. I don't know if the signal is on my end or on a different problem with Restream. I'll have to check that out, seeing if improving our internet service changes the signal. What's going on with this tree? This thing's coming down. All right, there's a tree that's crossing over. I think it's okay. Probably something that will need to get cut at some point in time, but it's there's a tree along the trail right before we get to the first exit. All right, so we got that one out of the way there. And so consume, produce, consume, produce, produce, consume, produce, consume. So it's going through a consumption cycle, consume something, produce something based on like some sort of feedback, and wait for the feedback around the stuff that you produce, the comments and other different ideas and ways to be able to work. All right. What else do we want to talk about today? I think that's going to come in for a landing on this one. Right now, we'll get this uploaded. This will show up as a breaker podcast. Should also show up in Otter. An Otter as an audio message. And then we can potentially put it into our, the audio message can potentially put it into our workflow for the stuff that we're going to do tomorrow. So thank you so much for listening to this one and have an amazing day.